Um, Hello everyone. My name is Ajima Obole, and this is Susan Obole, my sister-in-law. We're currently recording this video from AZ Saint-Anne, Bruges. It's a general hospital in Bruges in Belgium. In 2017, I came to visit a doctor in this hospital because I had my husband and I wanted to have a family, and after checks, he said I had fibroids. And he would advise that I had a myomectomy. That's the surgery to take out the fibroids before we could begin to start trying to conceive. So we agreed, and in November of 2017, I went ahead and I had that surgery. Everything seemed okay. It was a laparoscopy, so I was cut open. He said it was better because of the locations of the fibroids, and everything seemed fine until we came back for a checkup, and he said he couldn't find my cervix. Asked us to come back a while later so he could put me under anesthesia and try to find the cervix, which we returned with my husband. And when I woke up, I saw I had 4 holes on my tummy, and I was wondering if it was the IUD, because he was supposed to put the IUD because he felt my cervix was blocked. He later came in to tell us that he couldn't find my cervix, and so he didn't perform the laparoscopy, and as such he was going to transfer me or refer me to KU Leuven, to a professor in gynecology, which was one of the best to recreate my cervix. We went to KU Leuven, and the professor told me that for the purpose of a pregnancy, a cervix has never been recreated, and he hopes for my sake that there was a little hole in which my period will be able to flow out. And so we waited. So he performed some investigations, did ultrasounds and all to see if he could see my cervix, but he couldn't, and so he ushered my husband and I back into his office, and he said a cervix has never been successfully recreated for the purpose of a pregnancy. He explained to us that the cervix is a muscle which holds the weight of the baby until you're ready to push, and then the baby comes out, and also it protects the fetus from infection. He then told me that I could not get pregnant naturally or artificially because the connection between the vagina and the uterus was gone. It was at that point we realized the intensity of the situation. My husband and I then traveled to Nigeria and consulted another professor in gynecology and another fertility specialist, which all advised our best option was surrogacy. We came back to Belgium. After returning back to Belgium, we had an appointment with another professor in University of Ghent, who is a gynecologist but specializes in reconstructive surgeries. We saw him, and he offered to perform a surgery, but it was going to be 20% chance of success, and by success he meant to recreate a hole and not for the purpose of getting pregnant. If that was successful, then we would start to try to conceive, which I agreed, and I had a laparoscopy again somewhere in August in 2018. After the laparoscopy, a catheter was put for 10 days, and then we went back. He removed the catheter, and then we came back 2 weeks later for an IUD to be inserted. I was put under anesthesia, and by the time I woke up, his assistant came to inform us that the surgery wasn't successful. He was still in surgery, so he couldn't see us himself, and so he gave us an appointment in 2 weeks to discuss what I wanted to do, as also my body absorbing back my period wasn't good for my health. It can lead into some complications like endometriosis or probably even cancer of the blood. And so we left, and when we came back, he offered to try one more surgery, but I wasn't so sure as my body was exhausted, and I felt drained psychologically, physically, emotionally. After some thought, he told me to go and think about it and tell him what I wanted, and then we did, and then we came back, and I decided to have another surgery, which was somewhat successful as I began to have my period, but after a while it stopped again and I only was spotting. And at the point I had to decide my life was more important than cutting myself and twisting the hand of fate, because I wanted to get pregnant by all means. And so we started to research the process of surrogacy and what it took. We found out our best option was America, but then we couldn't afford it because it was expensive, between $150,000 to $200,000. And in Belgium, surrogacy is complicated. It's a gray zone, and hospitals make the law on who they should take as a surrogacy candidate and not. My sister-in-law here, who is Susan, was then coming to Belgium to study, and so she offered to be our surrogate. And because she was going to be, she was resident in Belgium, it was already easy for us, because for you to be a surrogate in Belgium, you had to be legally resident in Belgium. So when she came, again, we started to look for hospitals, but no hospital will take us. And we came back to AZ Senyan in Bruges, which my error was made. And after embryo creation and a week to the embryo being transferred in Susan, the hospital backed out and said they wouldn't be proceeding, and no reason was given. So we decided to go back home to Nigeria to have an embryo transfer, like create IVF treatment and then an embryo transfer, which we did in the first week of February. And then we moved back to Belgium, and Susan gave birth to our beautiful baby girl Imani Obole Spital on the 15th of October this year, 2020, sorry. But listen to Susan's part of the story, it even gets messier.
Hi everyone, my name is Susan Obole. I had the baby on the 15th of October 2020. I opted for a cesarean, and I was told I have to take an epidural because I wanted the general anesthesia, and they said, oh no, in Belgium you have to take the epidural, which is safest. So I reluctantly obliged, and I signed the consent form because I did not want any complication or anything to happen with the baby. So I went in to the theater, and I was administered the epidural, but in the process of the epidural, I felt pain on the left side of my back, and I kept telling the doctor, oh, I feel pain, and she kept telling me, oh, just be calm, I'm trying to get the good spot. And she kept twisting, I don't know what she was twisting, whether it was the needle or there was something else attached to it, but it felt like a round device or something, and she kept twisting and twisting, and she kept telling me, oh, just be calm. And at some point she actually found the point she claimed she was looking for, and I didn't feel the pain anymore. So the surgery was carried out, it was successful. But after I got back into the ward, the following day I was told the epidural pump had to be removed. So they removed the pump, and at about 8 o'clock I was able to sit. Everything seemed normal, but my legs were having spasms. But I was told it would wear off. And then later that day in the evening, it all went south, and I couldn't feel my legs anymore. A lot of doctors came. They had to look for a neurologist to come and check. She came and checked and said, I have to go for an MRI. I have had 4 MRIs already. The first 2, they said, oh, we didn't see anything. But the third one, they said I had to have a lumbar puncture. And I was taken for a lumbar puncture, and they came and said they saw a bacteria, but they don't know what the bacteria is. One of them even suggested, oh, maybe it's a disease from Africa, maybe tuberculosis or malaria or cerebral meningitis. And they carried out all the tests, and they didn't see anything in my system. So the question was, where did the bacteria come from? Was it in the process of administering the epidural, it entered my system as a result of them not scrubbing me very well? Or is it that the person who administered the epidural did not know her job? Or the instrument they used was not properly sterilized? And up till now, nobody has given me an answer. I have partial paralysis from my waist down. I can't poo on my own, I wear a diaper. I can't pee on my own, I have to use a catheter to take out the pee. It's been so difficult, and I asked for an apology from the anesthesiologist, and she said, oh, it's a complication, when we had a meeting with the team of doctors. that were all involved in the process. So now I have decided that justice must be served. I need justice for this. I came into this hospital, I was on my feet. I was only pregnant. I only came to have a baby. I was never sick. They can check my medical records. I never reported sick during the process of the pregnancy. So I don't know what they are saying. They say it's a bacteria from where only God knows. And they know what happened. And the whole thing just was annoying, because at some point I was told it was a third-year resident that administered the epidural, and her supervisor claimed she just stood by the side and supervised her. So it's just so amazing how I was given to a resident to perform the procedure, and nobody seems to see anything wrong with the whole thing. And I just want to say I deserve justice, and justice must be served me. And AZ Saint-Yann in Bruges has done me dirty. I was supposed to go home to see my children on the 30th of November, and all to no avail, because I'm sitting in a wheelchair. I can't go home, I can't see my family. So I need justice.
It is important to add that nobody has apologized to us. After the meeting we had with them 3 weeks ago or 4, the neurologists haven't even stopped by Suzanne's room. Like, it's just after we realized all this, they brought a rehabilitation doctor who is a black doctor. And for us, why? I feel they dragged him into this for damage control. And also, how can 2 family members of the same race have 2 rare complications in the same hospital? Was a resident also used during my surgery? These are questions. The hospital doesn't even want to apologize. We even said, okay, don't apologize. Let's sit and have a conversation. How do you make our lives easy? What happens to Suzanne's medical bills? Because we're looking for options. We're looking for solutions of where we can take Suzanne for treatment. You know, this has been difficult on the whole family. Suzanne's son turned 5 in November this month, and the daughter turns 3 next month in December. She was supposed to go home. How can they ruin 2 lives of 2 sisters, and nobody is showing any remorse? Nobody feels like we deserve an apology. We feel it's, at first we thought it was subtle racism, but it's not even subtle. It's real glaring racism. Nobody even comes to us. They feel that maybe we're asking for too much. Yes, we deserve that. If we were a family member of one of these doctors, they would have gone above and beyond. Her file was supposed to be sent to UZ Ghent. We kept on pushing. It was sent after a week. We kept on asking them, have you referred? Have you consulted other doctors to find solutions? Have you done this? They say no. Can they do it? How can you ask a patient? I remembered with my case, I was referred immediately. Why are they claiming based on European laws on privacy? You can send inquiries without even disclosing the patient's case or the issue. We also don't think that a bacteria was involved. I don't believe it. I believe that her nerve roots were damaged. If not, why haven't they seen a bacteria? They tried to blame it on malaria, on meningitis, on tuberculosis. We are just so lucky that Susan did not have a bit of malaria in her blood, because they would have held on to that. They also told us that it's a bacteria, and they don't know what the bacteria is. It's a bacteria that is not found in Caucasians or Europeans. It's a bacteria found in Africa. Is this not all racism? And why was a resident used to give her such a delicate and a complicated injection? Why? The neurologist, sorry, not the neurologist, the anesthesiologist said they will not apologize because they didn't do anything wrong. If they did, in fact, they kept on saying they did everything perfectly. If everything was done perfectly, why is my sister-in-law on a chair? Why? We feel that this hospital deserves to be investigated. Everybody that has done us wrong deserves to be called to book. We deserve a trial. We will not let this go. We will fight it. Yes, we're Africans, we're Nigerians, but we did not come to Europe on a boat looking for a better life. We are both from educated family and comfortable homes. So they will not take us for a ride. Like, if they've done it to other people, they will not do it to us. We will fight this. We will fight this, and we'll make sure the whole world knows of the injustice that was done to me and my sister-in-law. Do you have anything to add?
No, for me that's it.
Okay. Thank you, and all we can ask is for you to share the video and post and demand that justice is done for us. That's all. And thank you all.